everyone, Mrs. Croft here again. Today we have a story about plants and people. But let's get on with our vocabulary first. The first word we have is bouquet. A bouquet is a bunch of flowers that has been arranged and wrapped. Example, I gave my mom a bouquet of roses on Mother's Day. Our next word is medicines. Medicines are something that is given to a sick person to help them feel better. Example, the doctor gave Javier 2 different medicines to help him feel better. Oxygen. Oxygen is a gas found in the air and water. You can't necessarily see it, but you breathe it in. We breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Provide. To provide means to supply or give something. Your teacher will provide you with paper, but you must bring your own pencil. Provide means it's a supply or given to you, supplied. Well, we've already learned several ways that trees are different and the same, deciduous and evergreen. Let's talk about different ways people make use of these plants and parts of plants. So, I'm going to be naming a couple of the fruits that you've learned about, and that's like apples. And where are the seeds for apple trees? In the apples, yes. What about watermelons? Yep, their seeds are inside too. So here we go. Let's listen today and find out how plants help provide 2 very important things for humans and animals to survive. Oxygen and food. We'll learn about that. So let's all take a deep breath. Hold it. Breathe out. When you breathe in, the oxygen goes in your body. And when you breathe out, you put out carbon dioxide. And that's just like we must eat every day. We must also breathe in oxygen in order to survive. So let's get on with our read aloud today. Remember that eating and breathing are 2 of the ways that people use plants. Listen carefully to find out how plants provide this oxygen and other ways, things that plants do to help people. Where would we be without plants? The truth is that life for animals, insects, and humans would be impossible if it weren't for plants. The most obvious reason plants are important is they provide. Remember, provide means to supply or give. They provide food. People, including you, eat plants or parts of plants every day. What does the woman have in her mouth? Lettuce. It's kind of a silly picture. But of course, you don't see too many people chomping on lettuce like this, but you will find lettuce in salads and on sandwiches. Lettuce is good for you. It's a healthy vegetable that comes from a plant. What fruits and vegetables do you see in this picture? Let's go through and name a few. I'm seeing a pomegranate, some grapes, cucumbers, corn. This purple thing right here is an eggplant, an apple, some tomatoes. Ooh, these down here are kiwis. A little mandarin orange, a garlic. Wow, there's lots of them. Lemons, pears. Ooh, some little hot chili peppers. Oh, and big things of, I think it's cabbage. I'm not sure, but those leaves are very tasty. We have some mushrooms down here. There's a lot of plants in here. So just like fruit, all vegetables are parts of plants, including potatoes, beans, peas, carrots, peppers, cucumbers, and squash. Each comes from different plants and from different parts of plants, but they all come from plants nonetheless. Many fruits and vegetables are healthy and tasty, so you should try to eat some every day. This is a picture of an ear of corn and a cornfield. Believe it or not, corn comes from a special type of grass. Do you like to eat corn on the cob? I do, with lots of butter and salt and pepper. Why are they called ears? Because they grow on the sides of the plant, just like your ears grow on the sides of your head. So it's called an ear of corn. Have you been eating any bread lately? It's likely that you have, and then you've eaten wheat. Wheat also comes from a type of grass. It's seeds that are ground up and used to make wheat flour. And wheat flour is used in many kinds of breads and cereals and cakes and cookies and crackers. All these things have wheat in them. In this picture, there's a bowl of rice, and a rice paddy is a field, and they call it a rice paddy. People all over the world eat rice. It's used to feed billions of people every day. You've just learned about 3 important grains called corn, wheat, and rice. Grains are the seeds that come from these different types of grasses, but we eat them. Plants and plant products can also be used to make fabric or cloth. Fabrics are used to make clothing like blankets and the clothes you wear and everyday things. This picture shows cotton plants. Fluffy white cotton is often dyed a color to make colorful clothing like blankets and clothes. But nevertheless, it's a plant. So these little white puffs, and sometimes you see cotton balls, and we use them in our first aid kits. When people are feeling sick or sad, sometimes it's nice to give them a bouquet of flowers. Remember, a bouquet is a bunch of flowers arranged together. Flowers can cheer people up and let them know they are loved. Have you ever received or given flowers? Now, there are many things that you would not even guess that have anything to do with plants, like tires on your car, which are made of rubber. In fact, much of the rubber we use for everything from tires to rubber bands to basketballs comes from the sap of a rubber tree. Now, the white liquid that comes out of a tree is called sap, and then they manufacture it through a process and make these rubber tires out of it. So, plants give us lots of things. That's just one way we use the sap from a tree. Here's another way that we use it, and I know you guys love this. Another type of sap we use comes from maple trees, and this type of sap is clear and it gives us something much better tasting than rubber. Yep, it's maple syrup. In the early spring, people drill small holes into trunks of maple trees and they put a spout in it, which lets the sap drip into buckets or holding tanks. And when the sap is boiled, it turns into maple syrup. Don't worry, the holes don't hurt the trees. They heal during the summer and the fall, and people pick a different spot on the trunk to drill the next time. But usually when you get maple syrup, it's brown, not clear like this. That's because they boil it up and they take the top off, and the top part is brown. The clear part, if you ever get to taste maple syrup that is clear, it's very tasty. Some plants and plant parts can be used to make medicines for curing disease or healing. Using plants to make medicine requires a great deal of knowledge. A person must know how to find just the right kind of plant, and he or she must know exactly which part of the plant to use and how to use it. In some parts of the world, knowledge of medicinal plants has been passed down from generation to generation. That means from person to person, from parents to their children, and then for thousands of years they've done this. One very common medicinal plant is aloe vera. Aloe vera plants have thick green leaves, and it's got clear gel inside the leaves, and many people put this on to heal cuts or to soothe sunburn. Some doctors and scientists think that eating or drinking parts of the aloe plant is good for your stomach and it can help prevent many diseases. Looks kind of like a cactus, doesn't it? Well, it's in a family called the succulents. People use the wood from trees to build houses and to make other things. This lumberjack, a person who cuts down trees, is using a powerful chainsaw to cut down a great big pine. Why do you think this lumberjack is wearing earplugs? Remember how we have to protect our sense of hearing? So he's doing the right thing by wearing earplugs because the chainsaw is so loud. After he cuts down this tree, the lumberjack will saw off all the branches. The bare trunk will be loaded onto a truck and taken to a lumber mill where it will be turned into boards. People also use the wood from trees to make fires when it's cold outside. I'll bet if you've ever been camping, you've had a campfire. This person is splitting logs to burn into a fireplace. Wood is also used to make tool handles, instruments like this violin or this guitar, and baseball bat. And baseball bats are often made of a wood from an ash tree, one of the strongest trees in the forest. It is very important to plant a new tree for every old tree that is cut down, so that there will be plenty of trees for other people to use in the future. Here's another important thing to know about plants. They help keep their air clean and fresh. When plants make their own food, they release oxygen into the air. Now, what is the process called photosynthesis? Okay, photosynthesis is when the plant's leaves take in the sunlight and the food and water, and they perform photosynthesis. When you breathe in, that same oxygen travels into your lungs, and oxygen keeps you alive. You need oxygen every day. And take a deep breath right now just to feel that oxygen. Hold it. Oh, breathe out. Oh, it feels good to breathe in nice, clean air. Did you have any idea how important plants are to people? Yep, they regenerate oxygen into the air. They put off oxygen, we put off carbon dioxide. They take in the carbon dioxide and give us the oxygen back. So, why don't you discuss with someone what things plants do to help people and animals? Let's take a comprehension check. What are some foods that plants provide? If you said like corn and wheat and rice and vegetables and maple syrup, you were correct. Number 2, what can people make from cotton plants? Now remember, cotton plants was like those little white puffs. Yes, they can make clothes and blankets and things like that, fabric. Number 3, many plants are used for medicine. Which plant did they use for cuts and burns? The aloe vera plant, yes. It helps heal cuts and burns. Number 4, what is lumber or wood for trees used for? Yes, lumber is used for building houses and making things like baseball bats and furniture and all those kinds of things. Instruments as well. The next time you look at a violin or a cello or one of those kinds of instruments, you can remember that that came from a tree. Thank you for listening. Let's do some word work. In the story you heard, when people are feeling sick, it's nice to give them a bouquet of flowers. Say the word bouquet with me. Bouquet. A bouquet is a bunch of flowers, sometimes tied together with a string or placed in a vase. Ava gave her mother a bouquet of flowers for her birthday. Tell me who you would like to give a bunch of bouquet of flowers to and why you would give them to them. Sometimes you may just want to give them to them because it makes them feel happy. You can discuss this with someone. why you would like to give someone some flowers. What's this word we've been talking about? Bouquet, yes. You may have a favorite flower that you like. You could also discuss this with someone. Now, we are going to go ahead and if you like certain plants, let's do some word work with the bouquet. Let's say a discussion, or let's have a discussion, and you discuss or even draw a picture of your favorite flower, or maybe draw a whole bouquet and give it to someone that you like. Well, thank you for listening today. We learned a lot about how plants and people get along together and what they give each other. So that's all for today, kids. We'll catch you next time.